When this old world starts getting me down and people are just too much for me to face, I climb way up to the top of the stairs and all my cares just drift right into space. On the roof it's peaceful as can be, and there the world below can bother me. Let me tell you now, when I come home feeling tired and weak, I go up where the air is fresh and sweet. On the roof I get away.
Welcome to week 2 of Irish Bill's Twist on Sports of sorts. Week 2 here at, where are we at again? No, we're at Culver's in downtown Navarre, a block and a half on a bridge from beautiful Navarre Beach. You know what? You know where I got that from? You ever listen to the old Cincinnati Reds broadcast at all? Yeah. And they'll always say a block and a bridge from downtown Covington. Remember when he used to say that? That's where I got that from.
Can't remember that broadcaster's name.
Joe Nuxhall and Marty Brennan.
Oh, yeah, Joe Nuxhall.
That's two of the guys I grew up listening to them, and Harry Carey. And
Nuxhall was the youngest to play.
Yeah, and being right where we were at in northeastern Indiana, we could also get Detroit Tigers games because we were 2.5 hours, 3 hours away from Detroit.
Ernie Harwell.
One of the best of all time, right there with Jack Buck and we go out to the Dodgers.
Red Barber. That goes back even further.
Wow. Well, you're really starting.
Dizzy Dean.
You're really starting to date us. And Lindsey Nelson used to do the Notre Dame replay show on Sunday mornings.
Yep.
And gosh, there's just been some Vin Scully for the Dodgers. I was reading. Yes, I do approach Google once in a while, but there's a period from 1896 till a couple of years ago when Vin Scully passed. There was only 2 people that ever did Dodger baseball games, and
he was one of them.
He was one of them.
Who was the other one?
We'll get to that a little bit later now.
Okay.
I'm going to get you thinking on that and see if you can come up with it. And but they cover over 126 years of Dodger baseball from Brooklyn on out to L.A.
Amazing.
And see, only facts like that you could get here on Irish Bill's Twist on Sports. We're at Culver's once again. This is week 2. Navarre comes into week 3 with a 1-1 record, kind of expected. Wished a little bit better showing they could have had last week against Pine Forest. But I tell you, that Pine Forest team, they are as advertised, and they are one of the best public schools in the state of Florida.
And football, most certainly.
That's what I meant.
Yeah, they big played us to death. I mean, there were times when Navarre's defense, stood toe-to-toe with them. It's just that speed. And the second half adjustments by Ronnie Douglas, head coach of Pine Forest. Navarre just crashed on the dive handoff, and then he just read, and the quarterback just read and went, and was very successful. And then it opened up running plays, and, of course, the pass. So,
you tell you, both of you, I have been around these parts for quite a while now, and I've been here since 1991. You've been a little bit longer than that. 77. You graduated from Fort Walton Beach High School.
Yep.
And I've seen a lot of quarterbacks come and go. But I tell you, Tierra Wilson is he called one of the most perfect games last week. all of his reads and everything were right on cue, especially the one that you kind of saw it coming.
Right.
He goes keeper off right tackle, goes for about 15, 20 yards. He's getting ready to get hit. And coming right down the sideline is either a running back or one of his wide receivers, and he pitches the ball for another 15, 20 yards. He knew where his teammates were at any given moment in the whole game.
Right. And I think he played a better second half than he did a first half. And, I mean, that happens sometimes, like in baseball when you go through the order one or two times, and then around the third, fourth time you see the pitcher, you kind of get the feel of things. I think it was the same thing last week against Pine Forest.
Well, and some teams make adjustments when they go into halftime, something that Marcus Freeman's going to have to learn in his first two games with Notre Dame. They switch over that. He's got to learn to make adjustments, and he will. And Ronnie Douglas made the right adjustments, and that defense, I tell you, they came to play in the second half. Especially the corners and the safeties, they were hitting big time.
Yeah, absolutely. Very physical game. We got some Raiders nicked up. I'm not sure their status for the Rickards game, but we knew Connor Black was down. We knew one of the twins was down.
I think Tyrell was down, if I remember right.
Right, the punter. And so, man, very, very, very physical game on both sides.
Most definitely.
Because some of the Pine Forest players also went down as well.
Well, let's get to the stats of that game. We'll go over some of the plays. At the end of one, Navarre found themselves down 20-6, but the most exciting play to start a football game is a kickoff return. And Terrence Marshall returned his third kickoff in the last year plus in about 12 games. That's number 3. This one from 80 yards. As they tried to go a little short on him, but he moved up to the 20, and he made a couple of nice moves, nice blocks from his special teams in front of him, went down the near sideline and scampered in from 80 yards out.
Yeah, I'm not sure their kicker can reach the 10 the way he was kicking. Maybe it was planned, but for the rest of the game, and Pine Forest kicked off a bunch, they never, they would either pooch it, but if that's your only problem, then you got something good going. So
Navarre's kick was no good, so they led 6-0. 14 seconds into the game. Well, Pine Forest got the ball back at their own 44. They drove 56 yards in about 5 plays, and they went in from 2 yards out. Zymir Brown on Froggatt kick, 7-6. Pine Forest out on top. They get the ball back on the next possession. This time a 69-yard run by Mikkel Brock. Kick no good. It was 13-6. There was a little confusion on the extra point. I want to thank one of our main sponsors. Ursula Householder goes right to the internet and said the only time you can get 2 points in a high school football game is either a 2-point conversion or a safety.
That's right.
But Navarre did pick up the bad snap and returned it, but in high school football that doesn't matter. So 13-6, and then we go with a minute 12 left. Tierra Wilson finds Danielle Hayes, a University of Minnesota commit. He had a big state championship game last year, and this one time he goes up, he gets the flag, but he still comes down with the ball and goes 81 yards. And at the end of one, 20-6, Pine Forest out on top. Second quarter starts. Navarre would get into Pine Forest inside their red zone, and a 25-yard field goal from Taylor Gardner would cut the lead to 29. But that would be as close as the Raiders would get on this night, as Pine Forest would add a 12-yard pass from Wilson to Hayes to end the first half with 40 seconds left. So we go to the half. It's 26-9, Pine Forest, and pretty much at that point in complete control of the game.
Yeah, and they I think they scored right before halftime, Bill, and then they got the second half kickoff, and just really put the nail on the coffin, so to speak.
Didn't waste any time. At 9:30, Kobe Johnson went in. The kick was no good. Kobe would add another run of the same distance, 13 yards at 149 to close out the scoring, 39-9. Hunter Feaster on the night went 7 of 13 for 83 yards. James Clark went 5 of 9 for 75. Unfortunately, Hunter threw 2 picks and James threw 1, so 3 turnovers for the Raiders. Pine Forest Tierra Wilson, 7 of 13, 148, 2 scores. Jaden Reese led the receivers once again, 54 yards on 3 receptions. Pine Forest, Danielle Hayes, 5 receptions, 128 yards and 2 scores. E.J. Love led the Raiders rushing attack one more time, 13 carries for 57 yards. And Xavier Hamilton added 22 on 7 carries. Pine Forest was led by Mikkel Brock, 18 carries, 165 yards and a score. And then Navarre's special teams, Taylor Gardner, 1 of 2 on field goals and 0 of 1 on extra points. Still looking for some defensive stats. We'll post those on IrishBillsSports.com and also on my Facebook page, Irish Bills Twist on Sports. But coming out of that game, a lot to work on coming into this week against Rickards.
Absolutely. Another team that's got a lot of speed. You did not hear about EJ, did you? And he sat out the most of the second half, if not all.
I have not.
Okay, we'll check on that.
So after 2 games, EJ has 187 yards. And the Raiders have 272 yards on 59 carries, averaging 4.6 per carry, 13.9 on receptions. Jaden Reese with 9 receptions for 158 yards. A lot of games this last Friday night, and we'll go over those scores. Niceville 15-7 over Vanguard, a defensive battle there. I was looking at the stats, and Niceville only threw, I believe, 6 passes in the game, completed 4 of them.
Yeah, that was probably the other game that I would want to have been at. Our good friend Joe Settle is on the chain gang, and he had just like front row seats, man.
Every game, every home game. I tell you, and I love the atmosphere at Navarre with the student section and everything. But when you go over to Niceville, it is Friday night lights to the max over at
almost
Niceville.
A different level. Almost a different level. Plus, you have the bowl shape of the stadium, and it kind of contains the noise a little bit and just makes it louder and louder. So
that's not that I'm saying it is it's a different experience. Not any is, you know what I'm saying,
right?
Both are great experiences on Friday Night Lights. Navarre turns out, and even they turn out at Niceville when they go to Niceville games. And I tell you, it's 2 of the best fan bases in the area.
Absolutely, and when you have winning programs, the fan base certainly gets hyped up.
Niceville, second week in a row, they face a team from outside the actually this side of 75. Vanguard in Ocala, first week North Miami Beach, 2-0 for Niceville. Catholic 26-14 winners over Milton on Thursday night. Bluntstown looking strong again under head coach Greg Jordan, who replaced Bo Johnson. And they're 33-6 winners over Rutherford. Gulfport, Mississippi over Escambia, 26-15. Pace looking strong here early on. And someone jumped in my power rankings this past week, and we'll get to that in just a second. Pace 38-18 winners over St. Martin's out of Mississippi. Fairhope, Choctaw loses another tight one, 43-39.
Wow.
Chipley 46, Pike Liberal Arts 9, Gulf Breeze 24, Crestview 21. Crestview battled back. All 21 points was in the fourth quarter.
Right.
Holmes County remains unbeaten. They beat North Bay Haven 38-0. This is the game. Sneads beats Arnold 72-49. 121 points in the game.
Basketball game broke out.
And our offensive star of the week comes out of that game. West Florida 27, Booker T. Washington 0, Baker 34, Destin a goose egg. South Walton 17, Fort Walton Beach 10, Rocky Bayou 23, Hollis Christian 0. Rocky Bayou goes to 2-0. Jay beats Freeport 24-15, Bozeman 14, Liberty County 7, Walton 49, FAMU 14, Franklin County over Vernon 14-12, Northview over Lighthouse PCA 37-0. I think one of the upsets of the week, Bay beats Mosley 27-17.
Yep, very tight at halftime. I think it was 7-3, 7-6, something like that. And Bay's got their hands full this week.
Yes, they do. Tate over Pensacola, 35-26. That was a Saturday morning game. And one of our special teams player of the week comes out of that game. Madison County 35, Godby 8, Wakulla 37, Gaston County 6, Taylor County 13, Lafayette 12, Fleming Island 51, Rickers 20, Florida High 24, Ponte Vedra 13, St. John Paul II 27, and Jefferson County nothing. Maclay 46, Brookwood Schools 7, North Florida Christian 21, Mariana 7, Weewaa-Hitchcock 38, Bell 8, Fletcher 30, Childs 28. Childs loses another tight game.
Yep.
Monroe Day 38, Leon 16, and Lincoln 78. Yeah, I said 78. So we had two teams score 70 points last week. They beat Palm Beach Lakes 78-0.
Wow.
So through two games, Lincoln has outscored their opponents 149-6. And Palm Beach Lakes has been outscored 158-0. So there's your Navarre recap and our scores from last week's. We're going to go ahead and take a commercial break on Irish Bill's Twist on Sports. Seminole Bob, Irish Bill, back here at Culver's in Navarre. I want to thank Randy and Honey Smith for allowing us to come in each and every Wednesday night during the football season. And we'll be back after this commercial break.
Craig Culver of Culver's.
Before farm to table, before field to fork, there was just good, wholesome food. Grown by America's farm families, prepared fresh at Culver's, and always served with a smile. We still cook every Butterburger to order using fresh 100% Midwest beef and craft our frozen custard right in the restaurant using family farm fresh dairy. So thank you, farmers. Welcome to Delicious.
Thinking about selling your property? Call Ursula Householder of Coldwell Banker Realty in Navarre now. The consultation is free, and Ursula uses the best tools the industry has to offer. Her years as a top producer, relocation specialist, and Florida military market specialist will help you get the desired result. If you are buying, Ursula's experience will help you make an informed decision to find the right home for you. And if you mention this advertisement, Ursula will donate $100 to the Navarre Raider Quarterback Club when the deal closes. To find out if you qualify for any of the military rewards, call or text 850-642-5711 or email ursula.householder@cbrealty.com or go to urhouseholderhomes.com. That's urhouseholderhomes.com. Go Raiders!
University Lending Group, located in Harvest Village, is Navarre's local mortgage lender. If buying, selling, or building a dream home is in your future, you need to contact University Lending Group. Jennifer Gomes and Stacy Wright are the loan specialists who have the experience to take you step by step to make your buying, building, or selling experience smooth. See University at 752 Navarre Parkway, Suite 56, or call 850-396-0322.
A strong work ethic takes pride in a job well done. This is the kind of person you need. Express Employment Professionals can help because we understand what it takes to hire the right person. It takes real people, real interviews. We find good people, matching the right skills with the right jobs from the production floor to the front office. Express knows jobs. Get to know Express. Go to expresspros.com to find a location near you.
Great teams have great support. The Navarre Raiders have one of the best support organizations, the Navarre Raiders Quarterback Club. All the members see to it that the Raiders have all available necessities to keep the Raiders on track, whether it's seeing to it that they're properly fed, have good transportation, or making sure that all Raider fans can watch and hear all exciting Navarre Raider football action. The Navarre Raider Quarterback Club is there to make it happen. Thanks, Navarre Raider Quarterback Club, for your support of your winning Navarre Raiders on IrishBillSports.com.
Welcome back to Irish Bill's Twist on Sports. We're here in week 2 from Culver's in downtown Navarre. I want to get back to last Friday night. What a beautiful night it was on top of the roof.
Yeah, it was. Ran into some sprinkles on the way in, and I said, oh, snot.
Snot?
Yeah. So I grabbed the umbrella because I knew you had stuff to protect the other electronics.
Most definitely, always.
For the umbrella. Brought the umbrella, and it didn't rain, so that's always good news.
Well, usually when you don't bring an umbrella, it rains. And when you bring one, it usually doesn't. We'll just go with it.
Copy that.
Hopefully we will not have any inclement weather on Friday night as we travel over to Tallahassee. How's the weather report looking?
What did they say on Good Morning Vietnam? What's the weather like? Open the window. Hot, real hot.
Well, speaking of that, we're gonna do a little bit of online production right here. We're gonna bring up the weather for
It's supposed to not be good.
for Tallahassee for Friday night. There's only one Tallahassee that I know of. Let's look at Friday. Oh my gosh, 80% chance of rain right now. Don't know what during the day. I haven't seen a day. I'll pull that up when I get home. But wow, not looking real good for Friday night. So we're gonna go.
Yeah.
And we'll set up our awning if we have to, and come rain or shine, we'll do the best that we can.
7 o'clock Eastern.
There you go.
6 o'clock Navarre time.
So as you're sitting down for dinner Friday night, if you don't make the trip over to Tallahassee, go on to Irish Bills Sports Live on YouTube, or you can go out to irishbillsports.com. But the best thing you can do, since you on YouTube, bring it up on your big screen TV at home. And you can bring up my site, and you can watch it like you're watching a regular football game on TV.
And even better, you don't have to see us.
Plus, you get to listen to us.
That's true. But they don't want the cameras
because we both have a voice and a face for radio.
We do at that.
As you can tell looking at this broadcast. But let's get back to our Irish Bill Super 7 Panhandle Power Rankings. I changed the name because it's hard to go by large school and small school because some of the bigger schools are now falling in 2S. So I broke it down to Class 3S and 4S, and then 2S, 1S, and rural.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
It's not really, don't want to call them large and small anymore. So first, let's go with Class 3S and 4S. Staying in the top, actually the top two spots don't change. Pine Forest 2-0 as they beat Navarre. Niceville 2-0 as they beat Ocala Vanguard. Moving up to the 3 spot and going 2-0 on the season is Pace. The Pace Patriots win at home for the second consecutive week. They fall in at number 3. Mosley drops to number 4 and a loss to Bay, 27-17. Gulf Breeze moves up to number 5 with their win over Crestview. Crestview falls to number 6, and Navarre falls 1 spot down to number 7. In the Class 1R, 1S, and 2S, West Florida sits atop as they beat Washington. Catholic in at number 2 as they beat Milton. Bay moves into the 3 spot as they beat Mosley. Walton at the 4 spot. South Walton in the 5th spot. Bluntstown at 6 and Chipley at 7. So we see a little bit of change as I was getting ready to do the broadcast on Friday night. Actually, it was Thursday night. I got a text from Coach Grant at Crestview, the new head coach over there. Mm-hmm. He goes, "Hey, Bill, you know that West Florida is in 2S, so they'd actually be considered a small." They said, "You know what? You're right, Coach. I'm still getting used to these classifications."
Right.
So I had to go back and look in West Florida, Catholic, Bay, Walton, South Walton. I'm looking at that district. I mean, District 1, you have Catholic, Walton, West Florida. All 3 teams are 2-0. You go down to District 2, Bay and South Walton, both teams 2-0. So Class 2 in this area is pretty strong.
Sure is. Sure is.
But now we go to our players of the week, and it was pretty easy for me as when it came to the offensive player. We're going to go to the Sneeds-Arnold game where there was 121 points scored in that game, and this young man scored 44 of them.
Oof.
Sneed's Jason Patterson rushed, forget this, 498 yards on 29 carries and 7 touchdowns in the 72-49 win over Arnold. It reminds me of one Caleb Wagner from last year.
Is that a new record?
No, Caleb Wagner set the record last year when he broke Derrick Henry's mark. Caleb went, I believe, for 525 last year against South Walton. But congratulations, Jason Patterson. You almost rushed for half 100. I mean, half 1,000 by yourself.
Yeah, about 16 yards a carry. Not bad.
The team rushed for over 600 yards in the game. Defensive player of the game, we're going to go over to the Freeport game against Jay. Uriah Frith. Say that fast twice in a row. Uriah Frith produced 14 tackles, 2 tackles for loss, and caused 2 fumbles and a 24-15 loss to Jay. So Freeport's Uriah Frith. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that right. And our special teams player, this one goes to Tate. Caleb Westergreen, another one-on-one kicking product. And I'm not selecting these based on that alone, but Caleb went 5 for 5 on extra points and averaged 42.3 yards on 7 punts. In a 35-26 win over Pensacola. So congratulations goes out to Jason, Uriah, and Caleb, our players of the week. We had some other good, really good performances. Catholic's Aiden Bird, 20 of 28, 316 yards, 3 touchdowns. It's just West Florida's Jack Nicholas. No, that's not the golfer.
Not the Golden Bear.
It's spelled different. Went 14 of 24 for 227 yards and 2 touchdowns. Wide receiver at Catholics, Javion Showers, 9 receptions, 189 yards. Monroe's Amari Borden, 7 receptions, 156 yards and 2 touchdowns. 5 touchdowns passing for Tate's. Get this. If you're a quarterback at Tate, what would be an appropriate first name?
Gonzalez? Aggie?
How about Tate?
Okay.
His name is Tate, spelled different, Taite.
Okay.
But he went 17 of 28 for 198 yards and 5 touchdowns. All 5 of Tate's touchdowns were thrown by Tate Davis.
Tate Davis.
The running backs, Gaston County's Cedric Boyd, 12 carries, 183 yards. Pine Forest, Mikkel Brock, 8 carries, 165. Chipley's Caden Kennedy, 8 carries for 153. On defense, Franklin County's Lonnie O'Neill, 14 tackles, 3 tackles for loss, and a sack. Monroe's DJ Green and Pace's Jackson Ward. And Freeport's Zion Wilson, all with 13 tackles apiece. And special teams, Logan Maurice, 4 punts, 42.3 average. There's that 42.3 average again. And he averaged 63 yards per kickoff.
Oof.
Holmes County's Nash Ammons, 5 of 5 extra points, 1 of 1 field goals. Walton's Maston Joyner, 4 for 4, 2 for 2 field goals. Reese Griffith had another perfect night, 5 for 5 extra points, 1 for 1 field goals. And Katie Lombardo, another good night, 3 for 3 extra points and added a 33-yard field goal. And West Florida's Jackson Clark, 2 field goals, long of 32, 1 for 1 on extra points. So there's your power rankings for Class 3S and 4S. Pine Forest, Niceville, Pace, Mosley, Gulf, Breeze, Crestview, and Navarre. And Class 1R, 1S, and 2S, West Florida Catholic, Bay, Walton, South Walton, Bluntstown, and Chipley. And our players of the week, Jason Patterson from Sneed's, Uriah Frith from Freeport, and Caleb Westergreen from Tate. So through these first 2 weeks, Bob, what has stood out to you in the area? Well, it could be a Navarre game or scores and starts for some teams in the area.
A couple come to mind. South Walton and their defeat of Baker.
Wow.
And then
we did not expect that, did we?
No, we didn't. And Baker's loss, I think.
And I'm trying to remember the last time Baker was shut out.
By that, even giving up that many points. Yeah. Usually they don't give up that many points in a season.
Well, the last time they gave up, last year when they played South Walton, it was closer to the 49-48 game that Baker pulled out in the end. A big night for Caleb Wagner and for the tight end Pierce Sperling for South Walton. Unfortunately, Pierce still recovering. I had a chance to talk with Phil Tiza, and he says Not sure if he's going to be able to play this year at all. But he's committed to play at Georgia right now. He's been a commit since 2020.
Georgia.
His sophomore year, he committed to Georgia.
Yep. Yeah, if you have that in your future, you got to be careful.
Going through these first 2 weeks, I think the biggest team that has surprised me is Pace. Pace 2-0. They win a come-from-behind game against Choctaw. They have a starting sophomore quarterback in Nick Simmons. His older brother, Nate, was the quarterback the last couple of years.
Remember that?
Got a big freshman offensive lineman, Ty Wise. He's leaning towards Miami, University of Miami already. And they've got some young talent out there, and they got one of the best kickers in the Panhandle. Actually, one of the best kickers in the state, in Reese Griffin. But we'll see. They got a tough game coming up. They got a real tough game coming up this week, and should be a really good game. But a third straight home game to start the season for Pace. Actually, no, they were at Choctaw in week 1.
They were.
So I stand corrected. I sit corrected. But Pace right now 2-0 in Class 4S District 1. Niceville 2-0 in District 2. In District 3, Pine Forest at 2-0. And Lincoln, gosh, they're all the way down. And I could see a Lincoln Pine Forest matchup in the playoffs. Wouldn't that be a if Navarre's not playing, I wouldn't mind going to that game.
Or see if we can broadcast again.
Good point. Like we said, we already went over Class 2S District 1. Catholic Walton and West Florida all 2-0. Bates, South Walton in District 2. Florida High 2-0, looking strong once again.
Yep.
Over in District 4, Class 2S, Taylor County and Wakulla both 2-0. In the Class 1S District 1, Monroe Day, North Florida Christian, Rocky Bayou all 2-0.
Yep.
St. John Paul II in District 2. And in Class 1R, Chipley, Holmes County, and Northview undefeated at 2-0. And Bloodstown and Sneeds in District 2 in 1R. So that's about how it stacks up. And, I look for a team that had a really good season last year. They beat Navarre in their last game of the season. And I like the talent that they have down at Gulf Breeze right now. Mm-hmm. Battle Alverson at quarterback. He's only a junior, one of the best wide receivers in the area, Brock Clayton. And a running back, Troy Coughlin. He's a big, young, strapping young lad, toting the ball for Gulf Breeze. And but I think what's going to hurt Gulf Breeze in the end is their lack of depth. If they get banged up, which I believe they've already lost one player for the year, it could be tough to replace some of those guys, especially if someone went down in one of their key positions. But they keep it going. I like Gulf Breezes. They're looking pretty strong right now here early on, as they had a tough loss in week 1 to Fairhope.
They did. It was back and forth through the whole contest.
So now it's time to go to our high school picks. But Bill, should we let them know how we all did last week?
Why not?
Well, I actually had the best week of all. Even though I did miss 7 games, I went 21-7. Joe was 20-8, and Bob was 18-10 for the year. I'm standing at 40-16. Bob at 38-18, and Joe, after that 14-14 first week, he made a nice rebound to go 34-22. You ready to pick some games now?
I am ready.
We're going to start it off as Navarre will travel to face Rickards. The first time that these two teams will have met on the gridiron. And Navarre comes in at 1-1, and Rickards is struggling at 0-2. Joe and I have both gone with the Raiders on the road.
I have the Raiders on the road. It'll be interesting to see how the weather might play into it. Hopefully, cross our fingers, cross our toes, cross our eyes. There won't be any lightning in that rain. Or
it could be a long night for us.
Yeah. But I have Navarre winning. I think it depends on the injuries too, because if one of the twins and Connor Black are out, that's half of your secondary. But anyway, should be a good contest. lots of speed for Rickards. They've faced some formidable folks in the first 2 weeks, so Navarre's going to have their hands full for sure.
I have done a broadcast over there, but it was years ago. We did a Pensacola High basketball game for Jock Jive, and that was my only trip over to Rickards. So this will be my first football broadcast at Rickards.
They don't play a whole lot of games at the school. They play a lot at Capitol Stadium.
Yeah, and they have a blue turf.
Do they?
They have a blue turf.
Smurf turf.
Yep. So it is artificial turf. So, and Lincoln has broken ground on their new field as well. So
there's money somewhere.
Yeah, must be. Next, we go to Crestview and Choctaw. But before we pick that game, we want to say our best wishes go for recovery. I guess going to the game last week, they had an accident, and I guess one of their players was taken to the hospital.
Right.
They still chose to go on and play the game that night against Gulf Breeze. Coach Grant, if you want to check in, send me a message on Twitter later on and let me know how you guys are doing. And but they'll be on the road at Choctaw, and Joe is taking the Bulldogs. I am going with Choctaw to get their first win on the season.
Yeah, boy, they've scored a lot of points in the year, and this was a toss-up game for me. I'm going with Crestview.
Okay. So Joe and Bob taking Crestview. Let's move over to Milton. Milton looking for their first win on the season. They'll be hosting Washington this week, and I think that they get it.
Yeah, I do too. They have, such talent on the team. And, I mean, it's not like they played shabby folks. Catholic, we've seen, very good. I just think it's time for the athletes to come out and a close win over the Wildcats at home.
Okay, then we're going to go over to Niceville as Niceville stays at home for the third straight week. But they finish off the season with 4 of their last 5 games on the road. So Niceville will host Fort Walton Beach, a struggling Fort Walton Beach, as they've only scored 17 points in their first 2 games.
Struggling, as Joe Namath would say. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with Fort Walton's program. I know death is always an issue with any team, but somewhere down the line, I think Coach Petrie's feeling the hot seat a little bit, perhaps. Don't wish any ill
great
on
guy,
anyone.
Great guy,
he
great
is.
coaching staff.
He is, and it's kind of like the New York Yankee thing. It's coaches don't block and tackle, and Coach Boone of the Yankees doesn't throw pitches and hit home runs. But sometimes somebody has to be.
Well, it's nice though that he got a guy that hit his 55th home run today, though.
He did. He suffered a back injury
today.
Yeah, from carrying the team the whole half of the season.
You got me on that one, Bob.
He's setting himself up for a large payday.
There is, if I remember right, there's a former Yankee that hit 61 in 61. But I think his name was Roger Maris.
Something like that.
And that's what he's shooting for. And they have about 25, 26 games left.
Something like that, yeah.
And he's got a good chance to break. He's had an outstanding second half of the season so
sure
far.
Sure did. They won today in extras against the Twinkies of Minnesota.
Most definitely. Well, let's move on to our next game. Gulf Breeze, one of my power teams going into this season. They're going on the road to Escambia. Escambia is 0-2, Gulf Breeze 1-1. I look for the Dolphins to keep the offense going and take out Escambia at home.
That's a very tough place to play in Escambia.
It is.
And but I agree with you. I think Gulf Breeze may have more weapons, and Escambia may be down a little bit this year.
As all 3 of us take Gulf Breeze, Pensacola goes to Pine Forest. I don't think there needs to be any discussion there.
A Pensacola team will win, and I believe it is Pine Forest.
Northview at Tate. This is going to be a really good matchup.
Yep.
Tate comes in at 1-1. Northview 2-0. And they're not that far apart. They're about, it's probably about 40 miles.
Down,
if that.
Yeah. Yep.
29.
Yep.
Up to Bratt. Is that how you pronounce it?
Bratt, Florida.
Bratt, Florida.
Yep.
I've been to a couple of games up there. Joe going with Northview. I'm going with the home team in this one in Tate.
I'm going with the Chiefs of Northview.
You guys you like to gang up against me at times, don't you?
I didn't have my glasses on, didn't pay attention to your picks. I just did my research.
And the green pen. We
The
both
green
got green
pen.
pens today.
The green pen.
Mine's a little bit lighter color, but nonetheless. Let's move over to Pace, where they're going to host the West Florida Jaguars.
Man. And they're in your power rankings both very high. It is a tough, Pace is a tough place to play. I say that all the time, but I'm going to go, I have a hunch on this with the Jaguars. And
So
I don't want to say upset, but
all three of us going to take West Florida in that one. You got St. Stanislaus, Mississippi, coming over to Pensacola to take on the Catholic Crusaders. I'm going to go with Crusaders at home. Very powerful team this year.
I'm going to go with the Catholics. Pensacola Catholic, that is.
There you go. Arnold, after giving up 72 to Sneeds, now have to face Mosley.
You think Mosley's got a chip on their shoulder?
I do.
Or a block? Or a house?
I mean, Sneeds scores 72 on him. What is Mosley going to do?
I don't know. It could be Lincolnish.
Speaking of Lincoln, our next game, what nice lead in there, Bob.
Thank you.
Gadsden County goes to Lincoln. Gadsden County, a very good team, 1-1 on the season, but I don't think they have enough to take out the Trojans.
Going with Lincoln.
Okay, now we got an interstate matchup. Godby going across state lines to Georgia to take on Cairo.
The syrup makers.
This could be a sticky game. I know.
Bill.
Me, the master of bad puns.
Bill, I've got to ride with you Friday night.
I'm going with
all day.
I'm going with Cairo.
I'm going with the syrup makers.
Joe's going with Godby for their first win on the season. Rutherford at Walton. Walton 2-0. I'm going with the Braves.
Yep.
Taylor County 2-0 going to Florida High. Not much of a matchup. These 2-0 teams. I think Florida High will win rather easily.
I do too.
Thomas County, Georgia, high-ranking team in the state of Georgia, going to Childs. It's not that. Childs is on the northern part of Tallahassee, so it's not too bad of a drive there, but I'm going with Thomas County.
Yep, Child's first home game of the season. I'm going with the Georgia team.
Then you got Fort Lauderdale taking it's not quite a long trip to Tallahassee, but it's about a 6-hour trip from Fort Lauderdale. They're playing at Leon on Friday night. Joe and I are going with Fort Lauderdale.
Leon, needless to say, is going to have a down year.
Jefferson County traveling over to North Florida Christian. I'm going with North Florida Christian, as is Joe.
I am too. It's good to see North Florida Christian. Boy, in the 80s and 90s, Bill, they were a powerhouse. Florida State used to pick several players from North Florida Christian. I'm going with North Florida Christian in this one.
Now we got St. John Paul II going to take on McClay.
Crosstown game.
I'm going with the Panthers in this one.
Going with the Panthers in this one.
Monroe at Wakulla. Should be a great game.
Man.
Joe's taking the home team, the War Eagles. I'm going with Monroe in this one.
We keep on saying perhaps the best team in the Big Bend area, Robert F. Monroe. And that is in Havana.
Havana. You got it right.
I'm going to go with the team from Havana.
Bozeman at Baker. I think Baker has finally righted the ship. They'll be at home again this week. Well, all three go with Baker, I'm assuming.
Mm-hmm.
We got Bluntstown going to Mariana. This should be a really good game, but I just think Bluntstown has a little bit too much.
Bluntstown. I think we skipped Bay and Port St. Joe.
We'll go right back to that one. Port St. Joe at Bay, not too far apart from each other. Bay just playing very good football right now.
Man, I chose Bay, but I'm going to go not so fast,
You're
my
changing
friends.
your mind.
And a quasi upset. I'm going with Port St. Joe.
The Tiger Sharks. Holmes County at Chipley. This should be another really good game. Holmes County 2-0. Both teams' offenses are looking really strong here early on. Holmes County with back-to-back shutouts to start the season. Chipley has put up some big points as well. I'm going with the upset. Holmes County on the road to take out the Tigers.
I had a hunch. I have a hunch in this game. I agree with you. I think it's Bonifay and the win.
Cottondale going to Rocky Bayou. Could the Knights go to 3-0? They are.
They are.
This Friday night.
I predict them to go 3-0.
North Bay Haven going to Destin. Destin still trying to find their way into the end zone after 2 weeks. And E.G. Green, this is not as easy as it was for you in 95 when you won the state championship, but I wish them all the best.
Oh, I do too.
And it's tough starting a new program.
It is.
And
where does North Bay Haven play their home game? By the way, I went with.
They have their own. They have their own field.
Do they?
Yeah.
They have lights. You know what? Yeah, I'm going to change my pick. Initially, I had picked Destin. I'm going with North Bay Haven.
Joe and I as well. Jay at Franklin County. Jay gets shut out in week 1. Then they come back and knock off Freeport. This week they go to Franklin County over in East Point. I do my geography, but I'm going to ask you a trivia question. See if you know the answer to this question.
Mm-hmm. What is their nickname?
No, Franklin County are the Seahawks.
Right.
What school were they before they became Franklin County?
They were Apalachicola.
They were not. They were Carabel.
Okay. Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. So they turned into Franklin County, and I have Jay in this game.
I do too.
Their their softball coach who won a state title this year took over as their football coach this year.
Really?
At Jay.
You're just full of knowledge.
I try. Liberty County going to Freeport. Freeport struggling this year. I'm going with.
Go ahead.
I got to go with Liberty County, and Coach Tranquil, former head coach at Vernon. And congratulations to the Tranquils as they had their 4th child this week. So congratulations.
Well,
to
let's
Coach
celebrate
Tranquil.
that with a victory. I'm changing my pick. I'm going with Liberty County.
Next, we have Sneeds, who put up enough points for about 3 weeks last week against Arnold, and they're going to Graceville. Joe and I have Sneeds.
Sneeds. I'm going to change one of my picks.
We'll go back to that after we get our next
Okay.
one here.
Sorry about that.
Vernon at Weewa-Hitchka. The Gators in this one for me. It's going to be a long season for Vernon,
I
unfortunately.
think so. I picked.
What
the
game are we
Gators.
going back to change?
We're going to go back to change. I'm going to pick Bay to win.
You're going to take Bay to win.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Where do we go?
Sorry about that, Chief.
That's okay.
Missed it by this much.
So we all 3 take Bay. So
Yeah.
you got to tune in next Wednesday night to find out how we did. You won't find out anywhere else unless you pull Bob and I over. Joe lives in parts unknown. We don't even know where Joe lives, to be honest with you. I have no clue where Joe lives.
He may live at the stadium.
He might. But there's your high school games. We'll come back next week and we'll go over those. Now let's move over to the college. And you guys made me look really, really bad last week. 25-1. In fact, the only game that Joe missed was the Sunday night game. And what a game that was. Full of mistakes.
Oh, Florida State.
Florida State.
Forgot. I was thinking Monday night. That was the Clemson game.
So Bob and Joe go 25-1. Excellent week for you two.
Thank you. Yep.
Hats off to you two.
Hats off. Florida State played very well. I think the key turning point in that game was when the nose tackle from LSU got ejected on the helmet to helmet, because he was a monster breaking plays up. Travis played just a heck of a game. Speaking of making all the right calls, the right reads, he looks like a different quarterback. And when the offensive line can give him some time, he can do something special. But, it was almost heartbreaking for Florida State. We have had our share of wide left, wide right, blocked, wide right again. That block kick that LSU had, it doinked. It actually almost went over the goalpost.
I had a side. But people say, they muffed 2 punts, but Florida State didn't score on either one of them. They go for it on fourth down the first time, and then what are you pitching the ball at the one?
I
do a direct handoff.
I agree.
It's game over at that point.
Quarterback or kick a field goal.
Kick a field goal.
Kick a field goal, and that game
it's
over.
It's game over.
Yeah.
2 scores.
So, but
25-1 for you, 25-1 of Joe, 21-4 for me. I had 4 losses last week.
So who's winning?
Bob is now takes over the lead at 34-2 through the first 2 weeks. An astounding 94.4% prediction rate. You're right behind him one game, 33-3, which is not too shabby there yourself, sir.
No, Joe.
91.7%. And I come in at 31-5 at 86.1. Pretty darn good anyways.
Yep.
But now let's go and let's pick our games this week. We'll get through the college games a little bit quicker than we did the high school games. We got 2 Friday night games, Louisville at UCF. I'm going with the Knights at home.
The Knights at home.
Boise State at New Mexico. I'm going with the Blue Turf Smurf on the road at New Mexico.
Going with Boise.
Let's move over to Saturday. Marshall, the Thundering Herd, comes to Notre Dame. Notre Dame, I believe, is going to let loose a little bit on offense in this game. I'm going with the Irish.
Hopefully their quarterback can be seeing other things than the sky this week.
Okay, our next game, we have Pac-12 Dave's Washington Cougars heading to the Midwest to take on the Badgers of Wisconsin.
They made a wrong turn at Albuquerque. I'm going with the producers on Wisconsin. Sorry, Pac-12 Dave.
Fight right through that line. We're never known for our singing, are we?
Thank goodness.
Okay, next we're going to head down to Miami Gardens. The U hosting Southern Miss.
This could get ugly.
All 3 of us taking Miami, the home team.
Yep.
Not as ugly as this next game. Arkansas State heading to Ohio State. They're the Red Hawks of Arkansas State.
They are. I'm going with Ohio State.
Next week, this is the best game of the week so far that we've gone over. South Carolina heading to Arkansas.
Going with Arkansas.
I am as well, as is Joe. Alabama at Texas, about ready to put a beat down on the Longhorns.
For a brief second, I was thinking about picking Texas. Just something about road games and the Roll Tiders, but I'm going to pick Bama in this one. I think Texas covers the spread, but Bama will win.
Well, I thought it was going to be a little closer until I find that the University of Texas is doing the $1 Million Band wrong by putting them in the upper deck in Austin. Upper deck to one of the best bands in the country. So they choose not to go. So I believe that
Alabama's band.
Yes, are not going to make the trip to Austin. So Bama is going to put a beat down on the Longhorns this Saturday. Next, we move over to Vanderbilt, and Hartman is back for Wake Forest, the Demon Deacons.
Nick of time.
In the nick of time, going to Vanderbilt 2-0, but they faced Hawaii. Nice trip out to Hawaii for a little week vacation. Then Elon out of North Carolina.
Yep.
So it's time to play a real team, Vanderbilt, and you will lose.
I'm going with Wake Fungus Among Us.
Joe's going to Vanderbilt to go 3-0.
Whoa.
How we got the Battle of Utah, Southern Utah traveling to Utah. Shouldn't be a good game at all.
Going with the Utes of Utah.
Utes to what?
Utes
to what?
That was a good game against Florida. Travel.
That was a
tough place to
great
play.
Game.
And I nearly pulled it out. And I would have gone 26-0.
You would have. Yeah. I think we've only had maybe one or two in all the years that we've been picking. I think I picked one high school week where I went undefeated. So we're all going to go. Furman heading over to Clemson. An FCS school traveling to Clemson. Even though Clemson is struggling at offense. And how long is it going to be before Dabo Swinney makes the switch at quarterback?
I thought his quarterback played better in the second half than he did in the first half. The Paladins aren't much of a. In the past, they had been a great FCS team. Went to some championship games.
Paladins?
Paladins, something like that. I mean, it's a very valid point. I don't think this game against Furman is going to be a measuring stick. I think
so. We may see a lot of Klubnik in this one.
Well, I mean, that's an excellent point. That's going to be a happy problem for Dabo, and that he could say, okay, I don't want to, run up the score and rub it in, but wink, wink, I'm going to check out a potential starter.
Next, one of the big games of the weekend, Tennessee traveling to Steel Town, Pittsburgh. Right now, Joe and I have taken the Vols on the road.
I also picked the Vols on the road.
Next, we head to Aggie Land, this time out to Texas A&M as they host App State. They lost a tough one in North Carolina last week, 63-61, as they scored 40 points in the second half.
A basketball game broke out. I'm going with the Aggies.
Okay, now we'll head over to Georgia, Athens.
How do they schedule this game?
Sanford is going to play at Sanford Stadium.
Sanford Stadium. Sanford and
between the hedges.
Yeah, we'll see the fifth-string
and
quarterback.
Crestview running back Jay Stanton will be toting the ball in the backfield for Sanford.
How about that? Probably see it on the SEC network.
Houston traveling to Texas Tech. Joe and I both take Texas Tech.
I did too, except I found out their quarterback's out for 2 weeks.
Ooh.
I went with Houston.
Good catch. I didn't catch that one. I'm still going with Texas Tech. Kent State goes to Oklahoma. Not much of a game there.
The Golden Flashes.
Central Arkansas, Scottie Pippen's school.
Yep.
But this isn't basketball. They're going to Ole Miss.
Hotty toddy.
Ole Miss to go 2-0. San Jose State comes across the country to the
Plains.
You're going to make me mess up again.
The Plains of Georgia. No. The Plains of Auburn.
The Plains of Auburn.
This is Keith Jackson.
Whoa, Nelly.
Oh, Nelly. Are they the Tigers? Are they the War Eagles? Or are they the Plainsmen? Going with Auburn.
Auburn as well for Joe and I. Arizona State going to Oklahoma State. Look for this OSU to go 3-0. Actually, 2-0.
Yeah, Okie State.
Okie State in that one. USC heading to face off against the Trees.
USC does not play well at Stanford.
No, they don't.
And I think the difference is their coach. I'm going with USC in a close one.
All three of us going with USC. Hawaii, they gave up 63 to Vanderbilt. Now they're going to the Big House.
Well, they're going to start a different quarterback.
to go and take on Michigan.
I'm going with Michigan. Big Blue.
And Eastern Washington, the FCS school, that play on the red turf.
Yes.
They're going to Oregon to face the Ducks, who faced one of the most disappointing teams of week 1.
Yep. And going back to last year, they've lost 4 of their last 5 games. Oregon has. So
what would happen if Eastern Washington went in and knocked off Oregon?
Man. Holy cow. Oh, man.
Dan Lanning, only 2 games in, would be not feeling very comfortable.
Well, I mean,
not that he's in the hot seat, but it was just,
no. I mean, did fate ever play into that? Do you want this job at Oregon? Oh, by the way, guess what? Our first game is against
the national champion.
Yeah, the team that you're currently with during the interview process.
Did you think Kirby wanted to make a statement in that game?
Oh, yeah.
he did.
Most definitely. And I thought 16.5, the spread on the game was way too much. But, man, oh, man.
49-3. Let's head over to BYU, to Provo. BYU hosting Baylor.
Good game.
BYU is a 3-point favorite in this game.
Yeah, I saw that. I'm going to go with the Bears. They've been playing really well lately.
That's where we're going. Hopefully my Bears play as well as these Bears do.
The Bears.
We're all going with Baylor on the road. The Mississippi State going to Arizona. That just doesn't sound right.
Yeah.
I'm going with Mike Leach, Mississippi State.
He knows a little bit about Pac-12 football.
That he does. Then our last 2 games, Kentucky going on the road to play
How could
Florida.
you miss this game?
I know. I looked right over
You went
this
with
game.
Furman and Clemson and missed Florida and Kentucky.
Shame on me. I know.
But you didn't wake up this week on the floor in pain.
Oh, my gosh. It's still sore.
I bet.
My calf is still sore.
Even when you walk?
Even when I talk.
In a house with a mouse? Florida, Kentucky. The game is in
the swamp.
Yeah, in Gainesville. I think this is going to be a close game.
I do too.
I do. Kentucky, there's just not enough this year in just 1 or 2 games. I'm going to pick the Gators here to win.
All 3 of us going with the Gators. Then our last game, Iowa State winners in week 1. Iowa, but they won both different measures. Iowa won 7-3. Say, well, Bill, that's just a touchdown to extra point. I said, not so fast, my friends. That was 2 safeties in the second half. No touchdowns in the game, 7-3.
And that's against an
FCS school.
Was that like
North Dakota State?
Yeah, I mean they're not really that bad.
But I am still going with Iowa.
Boy, my son-in-law is from Iowa. I've told you that many times. Half their family went to Iowa State. He went to the Naval Academy, of course. We're very proud of him for that. The game is in Iowa City? No.
It's in Iowa.
Yeah, it's at Iowa. Great tradition. At the end of the quarter, they turn and wave. The ugliest uniforms in America. I'm going with the Cyclones.
Bob with the upset. Okay, there you have it. There's our picks. We're going to take a commercial break, and we'll be back with our last segment of the night. It's Irish Bill's Twist on Sports from Culver's in downtown Navarre. Is week 2 as Navarre gets ready to face off with the Rickards this Friday night. First time that these 2 teams will have met on the gridiron. For Seminole Bob and Irish Bill, we'll be back after this commercial break.
Craig Culver of Culver's.
Before farm to table, before field to fork, there was just good, wholesome food. Grown by America's farm families, prepared fresh at Culver's, and always served with a smile. We still cook every Butterburger to order using fresh 100% Midwest beef and craft our frozen custard right in the restaurant using family farm fresh dairy. So thank you, farmers. Welcome to Delicious.
Thinking about selling your property? Call Ursula Householder of Coldwell Banker Realty in Navarre now. The consultation is free, and Ursula uses the best tools the industry has to offer. Her years as a top producer, relocation specialist, and Florida military market specialist will help you get the desired result. If you are buying, Ursula's experience will help you make an informed decision to find the right home for you. And if you mention this advertisement, Ursula will donate $100 to the Navarre Raider Quarterback Club when the deal closes. To find out if you qualify for any of the military rewards, call or text 850-642-5711 or email ursula.householder@cbrealty.com or go to urhouseholderhomes.com. That's urhouseholderhomes.com. Go Raiders!
University Lending Group, located in Harvest Village, is Navarre's local mortgage lender. If buying, selling, or building a dream home is in your future, you need to contact University Lending Group. Jennifer Gomes and Stacy Wright are the loan specialists who have the experience to take you step by step to make your buying, building, or selling experience smooth. See University at 752 Navarre Parkway, Suite 56, or call 850-396-0322.
If you want to move better, feel better, and live better pain-free, Dr. Paul Britt at Integrative Chiropractic Solutions is the only certified sports chiropractor for Gulf Breeze and Navarre. He can address your sports injuries quickly and effectively, and after only 4 visits on average with a 96% resolution rate. So give Integrative Chiropractic Solutions a call today at 850-916-9304 or book online at drpaulbritt.com. That's 850-916-9304 or online at drpaulbritt.com. They want to fix you swiftly to get you back in the game.
A strong work ethic takes pride in a job well done. This is the kind of person you need. Express Employment Professionals can help because we understand what it takes to hire the right person. It takes real people, real interviews. We find good people, matching the right skills with the right jobs from the production floor to the front office. Express knows jobs. Get to know Express. Go to expresspros.com to find a location near you.
Great teams have great support. The Navarre Raiders have one of the best support organizations, the Navarre Raiders Quarterback Club. All the members see to it that the Raiders have all available necessities to keep the Raiders on track. Whether it's seeing to it that they're properly fed, have good transportation, or making sure that all Raider fans can watch and hear all exciting Navarre Raider football action, the Navarre Raider Quarterback Club is there to make it happen. Thanks, Navarre Raider Quarterback Club, for your support of your winning Navarre Raiders on IrishBillSports.com.
Here comes the, y'all don't really want it like, yeah. Here comes the, y'all don't really want it like, yeah. Here comes the, y'all don't really want it like, E-double-L. I said so, I keep it coming. Y'all don't really want it like.
Wow. Here comes the boom. The last segment of the show.
I'm sore just
watching these hits. I want to tell you about something. I've told you already. After this show, I'm going to go back and the first week of the Gridiron Report is put on by Varsity Sports Network.
Yep.
And they contacted me about a week and a half, 2 weeks ago, and asked if I would like to come on and be their Panhandle correspondent. Well, they got a hold of me Sunday night. I taped a show with them Sunday night, and it is now airing on Varsity Sports Network, 8 8 o'clock Central, 9 o'clock Eastern. It's called the Gridiron Report with Dan LaForest and good old Larry Bluestein. It's been two guys that have been covering high school sports in the state of Florida. So I did about a 10-minute segment with them on Panhandle sports, a little history and the Panhandle, and brought up a little bit about, remember Elijah Bell, the head coach out at Jay.
Yep.
That was a strong constituent for rural class football, which we now are experiencing. We want to thank Elijah Bell for what he did to stand on that platform and for our smaller schools here in the Panhandle, and talked a little bit about that and about some of the players that we got going on and teams that we got going on in the Panhandle. And I'll be going on there about once a month or so, and we look forward to that. And it's airing right now on Varsity Sports Network. It's called the Gridiron Report.
Awesome. And they may join us, I understand.
There is talks right now that they may bring our Wednesday night show onto their network, so which I think would be great. And
as long as it's not TV, we want people to listen to their program and watch it. It
is actually video, so they would exactly get what we do here on Irish Bill's Twist on Sports.
Awesome sauce.
So Navarre Raiders, where are they now? Michael Carter looking ready to start his second season this Sunday against Baltimore. Michael Sandel finishing up his year of high A ball for the Asheville Tourists in the Astros farm system. So far in the season, 9 home runs, 53 RBIs, 23 stolen bases for Michael. West Virginia's Jordan Jefferson. He had 3 tackles in the 38-31 loss to Pittsburgh. They're up next against them. A Big 12 matchup against Kansas. Colorado State's Dante Wright did not play in the Rams lost to 51-7 loss to Michigan. They're up against hosting Middle Tennessee State this week. Eastern Tennessee State wide receiver Quinn Caballero, no stats, and a 44-7 win over Mars Hill, North Carolina. They'll be at the Citadel this week. Eastern Kentucky University running back Josh Carter, he did not play in a 42-34 loss to Eastern Michigan. They'll be at Bowling Green on Saturday. University of Louisiana long snapper James Seagrass did not play in a 24-7 win over Southeastern Louisiana. They'll be hosting Eastern Michigan this week. Harding's defensive lineman Mitchell Hunt did not play in a 29-12 win over East Central Oklahoma. This week they'll be hosting Southeastern Oklahoma. Huntingdon College wide receiver Tyler England at his best game as a Hawk. They lost the game 41-34 to Linfield, but Tyler, 5 receptions, 113 yards, and 2 touchdowns. His first 2 college touchdowns for the Hawks of Huntingdon. They'll be at Birmingham Southern this week.
Good for him.
Valdosta State gets into WinCom with the 36-21 win over Kaiser for Elijah Melendez. They'll be hosting Virginia Union this week. Last year they had to travel up to Virginia, which is in the northern part of Virginia. That's a long haul.
Yeah.
North Carolina, the Wesleyan's quarterback Zachary Marquise, a sophomore, did play in a 49-7 loss to Randolph-Macon. This week they'll be at Shenandoah. I like some of the names of some of these schools. And he also has a teammate, Mekhi Domino. He had a solo tackle in that same game. Huntingdon College, Jabari Mitchell. Bailey Houston did not play this past weekend for Huntingdon College. Colorado State's defensive lineman Grady Kelly had 2 tackles in the Big House, a solo and an assist in the 51-7 loss to Michigan. University of West Florida linebacker Devin Wright did not play in West Florida's 52-3 win over Warner. This week they'll be in Texas. I believe it's Southwest Baptist is in Texas, or is that Louisiana?
I think that's in Texas.
Okay. So they'll be on the road. This week, Millsaps College linebacker Sebastian Melendez played as a true freshman for Millsaps College at a 49-21 loss to Belhaven. This week they'll be at McMurray State. They'll sort of be all in the family.
Mm-hmm.
You get that?
Fred?
Yeah.
Do-do-do-do.
And Caden Howard didn't play. He also a freshman at Huntingdon College in the 41-34 loss to Linfield. Faulkner University quarterback Kyle Chambers They played 2 games already. He didn't play in a 14-10 win over Point University. Next game, they'll be at Georgetown, Kentucky. Weber International, Derek Percival didn't play in a 25-24 loss to Cumberland University. They'll be hosting Atlantis University. He has 1 assisted tackle on the season. Weber International, Trent Hall, and he did not play in the 25-24 loss to Cumberland. And Warner University tight end Davion Hardy didn't play in the 52-3 loss to West Florida. They'll be playing at Florida Memorial University this coming weekend. It was a good week for the Gulf South Conference. 6 teams up, 2 down. Valdosta 36, Kaiser University 21, West Georgia 38, Carson Newman 7. Furman University over North Greenville 52-0. Delta State over Kentucky State 33-10. Shorter University with a win, a rare win, 45-6 over Brevard College. West Alabama 24, Morehouse College 16, West Florida 52, Warner University 3, Albany State 28, Mississippi College 14.
West Florida played on campus.
Yes, they did. In fact, all of the games will now be on campus. No more games at Blue Wahoo Stadium.
Okay, good for them.
So this week's schedule, Catawba College will be at Shorter University, Kaiser at Mississippi College, Delta State goes to McHenry, Virginia Union at Valdosta State, West Georgia at Morehouse College, West Alabama at Miles College, West Florida at Southwest Baptist, and Newberry will be at North Greenville. That's the Gulf South Conference action from this past weekend and schedule for this coming week. Over in the SIAC Conference, Alabama State 21, Miles College 13, so a good showing for Miles College on the road against an FCS goal. University of Arkansas Pine Bluff 48, Lane 42, Delta State 33, Kentucky State 10, Clark Atlanta 39, Edward Waters 34, Southeastern University 34, Savannah State 14, Newberry 40, Allen 6, West Alabama 24, Morehouse College 16, Albany State Mississippi College 28-14, Benedict over Elizabeth City University 58-14, Fort Valley State over Tuskegee 21-6, and Central State over Winston-Salem State University, as both those last 2 games were on Sunday on ESPN.
Yep.
This week's schedule, Benedict at Lane, West Alabama at Miles, Lincoln University, PA at Central State, Erskine College at Clark Atlanta, Albany State at Florida A&M, West Georgia at Morehouse College, Johnson C. Smith at Allen, Tuskegee at Hampton University, and Fort Valley State at Kentucky State.
I watched a great movie over the weekend. Speaking of Tuskegee, Red Tails.
Oh, that's an awesome movie.
The pilots from Tuskegee, they call them the Tuskegee Airmen.
You know, that brings up the matter. Washington, to me, they're still the Redskins. I'm sorry. They'll always be the Redskins to me. But change their name. Red Tails was one of the names that they were looking at.
Right.
And I would have liked that over the Commanders. I mean, come on. That's lame.
I think George Washington would have chosen the Red Tails.
Yes, he would have. And
I do have a rant tonight.
We finish off each Wednesday night. Last week, Bob, since it was week 1, we kind of pass on the week 1 rant. But not so fast, my friend. Time for Seminole Bob's rant of the week.
So, the names of the parties will not be divulged. But when you are a proven commodity in college football, cut me off if you want me to. You won't hurt my feelings. And a new coach comes in. Now, you know, there was, even before the transfer portal, they would always say, wouldn't it be fair to let kids out of their scholarship if you get a new coach comes in? And I guess they still can do that. I don't know. But when you stick it out, you've been given your blood, sweat, and tears to university. And a new coach comes in and decides he's going to play others because oh, maybe he has seen you in practice and decides something's not right there. Something's not right. I'm not the coach in the situation.
Especially when that one of the receivers is a senior and projected to be one of the top 15 players in the Mountain West Conference. No names.
No names. I don't get it. I don't get it. You know, who was the coach before last at Colorado State? Was it? It wasn't Buck Bellew, but it was another former Georgia quarterback. Anyway, so that's my rant. You know, you're a head coach. You can do whatever you want to. You know, you've got to earn your money. But don't forget the people who have starred on that team and starred very well. We're not talking about a backup scrub. We're talking about a starter who may very well play in the NFL. People will say, Bob, life's not fair. Well, in this situation, my rant is over. This is totally unfair. And these young men who were put into situations like that, they don't deserve it. And my initial response, if that was my kid, I'd want to go into the transfer portal.
Most definitely.
But some kids say...
The previous head coach was Steve Adazio from Boston College. He went there.
The one before that
was Mike Bobo, the Georgia quarterback.
Yeah.
But he's now, I believe, he's on the South Carolina staff, if I remember right.
Yep. So, gosh.
Go
with the girl that brought you to the dance.
Amen, brother. I'm siding with you on that one, Bob. I agree 100%. We don't know all the details of that, but
and it's
we don't need to either.
No, and it's just not. I'm really talking in general. I'm not a college coach. Never will be. I'm just
Bob.
I'm just Seminole Bob ranting over fairness and, as they say, who's that wide receiver who's a...
That's a great picture of you and Kirsten.
Thank you. Yeah, she's a beautiful woman. Keyshawn Johnson. Was it or Michael? No, Michael Irvin. Come on, man. So, rant over.
So, we'll be on the air, weather permitting, Friday night from Tallahassee. Remember, folks, 7 o'clock Eastern Time.
6 o'clock.
6 o'clock Central Time. So as you're sitting down for dinner, turn on Irish Bill's Sports Live on YouTube and put it on your big screen TV, and you can listen to the Raiders as they invade and take on another set of Raiders, the Rickards Raiders, for the very first time on the gridiron. And Irish Bill and Seminole Bob will be there to bring you all the live action. Next Friday, we'll be on the road for our first district game at Tate. Mike Householder will be joining us, so he'll take over the camera he can get in next week, but the following week he's going to be up in C-Bus watching Ohio State and Wisconsin.
I saw that. Awesome.
So,
yeah, it starts to get real next week, but you've got a contest this week. You got to deal with Rickards, another very fast team, and they've played some strong teams and just come up short, kind of like Choctaw West, so to speak, come up short. So the Raiders will have their hands full. We'll see how the injuries play into it. And if they do, what's the old saying? Next man up.
Next man up. And Coach Walls will tell you the same thing. That's why you have depth.
Well, you can't feel sorry for yourself because the other team's certainly not going to feel
They're
sorry
not going
for
to feel
you.
sorry for y'all. For week 2, we're going to come to a finish here at Culver's in downtown Navarre, a block and a half and a bridge from beautiful Navarre Beach. Not much rain, if anything, today. It's actually been pretty calm, but there's a storm brewing out west, but hopefully it won't get here by Friday. But
Yep, I will bring my rain slicker just in case.
probably a good idea, Bob.
Yeah.
We'll be back this same time, same bat channel here from Culver's next Wednesday night, where you can tune in and see who won the picks, the high school and college next week. The only way you can do it is by tuning in each and every Wednesday night. With Seminole Bob and Irish Bill, until Friday night from Tallahassee, may the wind ever be at your back. This is Irish Bill signing off.
Good night, Navarre, and God bless.